Okay, so yesterday, I feel like I was pretty scattered. Um, and I pulled some cards that confirmed it, and one of them specified the need for self care. And I was journaling about that last night. It's like I definitely feel that, right? And of course, with family time this week, we've been taking lots of showers with the rose salt to clear my aura and get the family out of my system, right? And last night, I got to a point where it's just like, I just really need to go to bed early. And so I did. But before that, I did try something that I've never done before, and I cut like 3 inches off the bottom of my hair. Well, how straight it is, I don't know, but it works and it feels less obnoxious, so I'm happy with it. The ponytail situation is a little, it all goes back, but it doesn't necessarily stay back, so we'll be back to the part up thing for a little bit. Anyway, so I went to bed early last night, and of course when I had the dogs in there and then like finished turning the lights off in my office and all that stuff and went back to my bedroom, when I sat on the bed it was 10:10, so it was just meant to be, right? I was finally getting back to where I was supposed to be. And so yeah, I kind of had a little difficulty falling asleep though. Mind's been wandering a whole lot, but eventually I fell asleep, and then I woke up at like 3:45, and I've been up ever since. So it's now 10 till 5 p.m. and I have been up for 13 hours. Haven't done that in a while. I feel like I've been needing a lot more rest lately. But since I was up and could not sleep, my mind was wandering, right? And so one of the things that came up was I had this thing that I had done as a trial, but set up as an automatic thing that I shouldn't have. But I did because it was cheaper. To try the thing, it was cheaper. So I got it back in like April. And when I went to cancel it, it was really complicated to figure out how, and I ended up pushing it out until November. So I just went as far as I could. And actually, it did refill once, but I mean, I still haven't finished the first container. It's like an exfoliating thing. But this time, I did not have the money in the account, right? So my thinking was that it wouldn't come out. But I forgot that I set it up to come out through PayPal, and PayPal will automatically pull money out of my bank, whether it's there or not. So it came out, right? And I only had like, I want to say I had like $14 in the bank. And I was actually going to get a couple things at Sally's to, so I could go ahead and tweak my hair, which I did with like some different stuff. But that was how I discovered that I didn't have the money in there and that I was in the hole. And it was very sad. I was like, what the fuck happened? And it's like, oh. And I did get a message about it, but I get so much junk mail in my email that I overlooked it. And so I completely missed it. And it came out anyway. And it was a couple days after it had I'd gotten the email. So at this point, I have to wait for it to arrive so I can send it back. But it put my bank in the hole. I was like 41.51 in the hole, right? And it's like, fuck. And everything's been going really slow on the stuff that I've had posted for sale and whatnot. So I think that was part of why I was up. Part of why I was up and not able to go back to sleep was, kind of, my wheels were just turning. It's like, okay, what can I do in this situation, right? It's like, I know that I have the capacity to figure this out, so I will figure it out, right? And what I decided to do, well, before that, I was, when I was laying in bed and realized that I wasn't going to be able to go back to sleep, it's like, well, I need to write then. So I got my journal out and was writing, and what I was writing about was that I'm not entirely sure how this dog situation's going to pan out. And, earlier in the week, I was thinking, I feel like we'll get her back. I was trying to push that point. It kind of seems like, even though we don't have confirmation of it, we have a psychic input on thinking that she had found or had ended up somewhere that had a puppy. But, psychics, I believe them. Yes, the ones that actually aren't just bullshitting people and screwing people over for their money. I do believe there are some that genuinely know what they are doing. And I feel, even though I haven't met this one, I feel like she probably knows what she's doing, right? And what she's talking about. And just the sense that I have with it too. Initially, she said she felt like we were going to get her back. And then last night I was writing and, thinking about how she wanted the picture of the house, picture of my parents, picture of the dog, right? And I was kind of wondering what she saw with my parents, right? And honestly, my thought was, I wonder if she saw any of the conversations that we've had, right? That felt the energy of the conversations, because I was very much, since they started looking at other dogs the day Holly died, which my mom was the one that started it, I was against it. It's like, y'all have enough health issues, you don't need another dog, least of all a puppy, right? Now, this one's not a puppy, she's now 4, but still. And when the psychic said that she saw her in the house with what she thought was like a Rottweiler puppy or something, I was kind of writing about that this morning too. It's like, that actually could be a good scenario for this dog, right? So she came to us not knowing anything about anything, right? And not knowing how she fit in the pack. She never really found where she fit in the pack. And she would bolt out the door anytime she got the chance, because nobody was working with her, right? And I was trying to walk her as a means of burning off some energy and getting her part of the pack at some level, but also trying to stay detached so, she didn't bond to me when me and my 3 aren't going to stay there forever, right? So whatever comes next, she would be staying behind. And I don't feel like that's fair to get her used to us and bonded to us just for us to bail on her, right? That shit, honestly. So I was writing just about all of this stuff and feeling like I don't feel like my parents have any major urgency or big desire to get her back. I feel like they wanted another dog. The lady at the rescue pushed this one because she needed a home with other dogs, and we had other dogs, right? So the one thing that kind of bothered me was when the lady came over, She didn't ask me how I felt about it. She knew that my parents were interested in it and wanted it, but she never once asked me if I was in agreement for the situation. And, like I've said many times, I have not been on board with them getting another dog, period. And before Holly died, I had made a comment in a video about how I felt really bad at the possibility of leaving for good and, the two dogs being stuck with my parents, because they're not, they don't, my dad, Holly was his, and she liked to sit on his lap, and, they'd spend time together and all that. But Pepper's not that, and she doesn't have that relationship with my mom. So even though they have the dog, they don't spend the time with the dog that I think the dog would prefer them to. And so it's kind of annoying, frustrating, all that fun stuff. But then they get this other one who's afraid of her own ass, but also isn't inclined to bond with them because they're not working on it, because they don't go after her when she's run out the door, because God only knows, they'd probably fall out there, but they never did any of that. It was, if she needed to be corralled back into the house, I was the one having to go in the backyard to do it, right? And we got the system where it worked, and there at the end, all I had to do was like walk off the porch in another direction, and she knew I was going to go and cut off her path, so she would turn around and go straight to the house, which was nice, but it's still not an ideal situation, right? So as I'm thinking through all this stuff, it's like, if she ended up in another house, especially one with a puppy, that could actually be an ideal situation for that dog. Because it does have another dog, but that puppy is learning as well, and also much more trusting than she is. So maybe the puppy helps her learn to trust the people, right? So as I'm thinking about all this stuff this morning, and, like I mentioned yesterday, that my mom's trying to pawn off the big parts of the search process on me, right? Like I'm the one that put the flyer together, and then I'm supposed to go print them all off, and she's just supposed to say that we need more flyers, and I'm just supposed to go do it, and blah blah blah, but it just felt like she kept passing it off, and she didn't want to do it. So it's like, do you even really want the dog? Because I'm kind of feeling like there's this element where she's enjoying the attention from the dog having gone. And I don't feel like my dad really is super concerned about it either. Granted, he's had strokes, but as I've said many times, he is exactly what he always intended to be, right? So that is what it is. So this morning I'm just thinking about this, and it's like, I would love to know that she's okay, but what if it's not on, in the line of what's for me to know that information? What if this is one of those things that you just have to be okay with, right? And that's another point. My vision came back to me this morning as I'm writing. I was writing from the point of kind of feeling a little bit stressed or anxious and really frustrated, and I was writing, it's like, it feels like I'm just getting swept away downstream, and I can't do anything about it, and I'm just going head first, getting bumping into stuff, and not able to do anything about it. But then as I sat with this thought after I wrote it down, it's like, but isn't that also kind of the flow? Because you're not in control, and you're accepting that you're not in control, and you're just going with it because that's all you can do. So it's like it started from this angle of looking at it as kind of a hopeless feeling, but then once I spun it that way, and it's like, oh, so there again, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right? I'm finally, surrendering to the fact that I'm not in control. I can't, there's nothing in this situation that I can do one way or another, aside from what, hang signs and repost the stuff on the Facebook groups and all that. But other than that, I don't know. Right? So anyway, so I'm thinking about these things. And then as I'm thinking about this situation with the dog, and it's like, she would have an okay home if she comes back, but I don't think she's going to have like the stellar home that she could have, because my parents just, health-wise, they can't do it even if they wanted to, right? So they act and say like that they want to do the thing, but then they really don't, right? And they show that they aren't the ones motivated to do the thing and to follow through with taking care of the thing, of the dog, right? In this scenario, which there again is exactly why I said I do not want another dog. And it's a weird dynamic at the house too, because like the dogs, it's a weird space. Like mine are used to, we're a pack one way or another, right? It's the three of them and me, and we're gonna walk every day and all that stuff. And she was going with us occasionally, but like the walks, that's something that me and my three do regardless of whether she was with us or not. So sometimes she was there, but it was also okay when she wasn't. And then, Pepper, she didn't really bond with her or anything. It's just like they sniffed each other, and that was about the extent of it. It wasn't, welcome to the pack. It was just, okay, don't get in my way kind of a thing. But then, like, especially since me and mine were walking over here at the baseball diamonds when she got loose, right? So my dogs were aware that she was with us and then she wasn't with us. And they were aware that Mom's gone nuts because I threw them in the car and then like was taken off after the dog. And they're like, what the hell's going on? But then it's like this whole weird space. When we got in the car, it was like every other time we've walked and she wasn't with us. So it's like it wasn't really a dramatic difference on that end of things, except for we got home and she wasn't there anymore. So it's like they're aware and they know that the pack dynamic has somehow shifted, and nobody really knows if it's a permanent thing or if it's, if it's just waiting till the next thing comes along to change. But like the dogs, they've been quiet. The bigger, excuse me, Taz is never quiet. Let me just correct that right there. Taz talked all the time. But like, they all still come running for their bedtime snack, and it's all fine and dandy, right? It's just, we're back to how we were before she was with us, except for that was just a weird way for her to no longer be with us, is she got loose and took off. And I mentioned that I feel like I was blocked in many ways on this whole path, and including getting stuck in the mud, which they fixed. So my mom said on the way to my aunt's house that she saw that they had fixed my where I'd messed the side of the road up. So I'm glad I got that on video before they fixed it. She said it's even covered with grass seed and straw again. But anyway, so it's just this weird space. Theoretically, she could come back. But then, like we're wondering, is like me and my brother especially are wondering, would that even be the best case scenario? And my mom got a call from another lady with the rescue. And apparently she told my mom that she had wanted to adopt Piper. And the lady that brought her to us apparently doesn't like her and didn't let her do it. It's like, well, that probably would have been a much better scenario. But here we are. So then too, is this the result of, the one lady doesn't like the other lady, so she refuses to allow her to have this dog. But she knew my parents were looking for a dog, so she just kind of pushed it in their direction, without really paying attention to all the details, like the fact that I don't want it or I didn't want it, right? And now it's weird because now I want to know she's safe, but I also feel like if she's in another home where she can have a better chance at having a good life, then I would want that for her, right? But I know that, that's not how rescues work as far as, if you adopt a dog and then give it to somebody else, they frown on that and they can come back and, take the dog away from both of you, right? So that's like something that I've heard of happening, right? But, for the dog to go missing and then randomly end up with somebody else, I don't know. On that note, she's got a microchip. The microchip company has been alerted to the fact that she's missing. The fire department, police department, animal control, all the vets around here. So it's like, there's a good chance she could turn up somewhere and, then what happens, right? But going back to that being blocked part, thinking about like just the big question mark with all this stuff and whether the universe is going to allow her back in that situation. And we hung signs up the other day, right? So, was it Monday? My aunt and uncle and my dad and I went around. I drove, and my aunt and uncle took turns getting out of the cars and going into different places and asking if we could hang signs, and they were also hanging signs outside. I want to say, how many was there? 1, 2, 3. I think we got 5 outside. And I drove around today to check on them. And yesterday was so windy that they're not up. And I only found one, right? And it was like, it got blown into like this, it's like a drainage thing under the road. And it's far enough down there that like if I had some of those grabby things, I could probably get it, but I couldn't get it without it because there's like brush there, and that's a steep or relatively steep drop, and it's not a huge drop, but I don't want to go down there, end up in the puddle, and then have to go, it's 29 degrees, and now I have to get out of the freezing cold water and get back to the car. That doesn't sound fun. So I left it there, and it's like, okay, so you try to come back with the little grabbers and then get it then, right? But 4 of the signs, right, before yesterday, after it had rained the day after we hung them up, I went around and checked on them, and one of them had fallen then, right? So I collected that one and fixed it. And that was letting the poster board dry and then put a new paper on it. But after yesterday was hella windy, and 4 are down, and 3, I had no idea where they were. 1, I saw where it was, but couldn't reach it, but then the other one I'll go check before I go to my storage unit, but that's another story. So, just thinking about like all these different things, it's like even this attempt to look for the dog, and then everything's wiped out as far as what we hung up. So it's like, are we meant to have this dog back? I don't know. But it got me thinking about that point of, if she could have a better life with somebody else, even though we might not know about her getting there or, you know, any of those details, it got me thinking. And my dad's, okay, the second in line of the 6 is a daughter. And I gave her one of my Borg parakeets, one of the babies. And then the dad died, and then the female cockatiel died. So the male cockatiel and the female Borg parakeet are in the same cage. And my aunt has, you know, she loves the pink birds. And her grandson, her youngest daughter's little boy, really wants a cockatiel. And they knew at one point when I took that one to her, that I was debating on rehoming Buddha. And then I got to a point where it's like, yeah, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So I was like, nah, we're not thinking about that. But then I was thinking about it this morning, in line of like with everything with this dog. It's like, I haven't had the pellets that my birds eat for like 3 weeks. They've been eating wild bird food because we have some in the garage. And I can get that, right? I have access to that. So that's what they've been eating. But I'm sure it's not great quality stuff, but it's what I have available. So since I've, been kind of struggling on the money end of things lately, it's like, we're almost out of the wild bird seed too. So that's a whole nother point. And, the past couple days, I've gotten them some veggies, which they're kind of hit and miss on eating anymore. Excuse me, but I think they have been, since that's what's available. But it's still like they used to love it. Used to, when I had all the birds, every time I took a plate in and put it in, like I would take 3 plates of vegetables in and put it in each of the cages, and they all just went nuts for it. As they've been dying off, and then I got down to the last 2, they haven't really loved it like they did before. So, like, I haven't been going out of my way to get the vegetables for them. We had like some corn that I'd gotten previously, and it was like, oh yeah, this is still in here. Cool, we're doing that. So we did that. But I was thinking about it this morning, and it's like, I'm not spending the time with them that I think they would be happier if I was, right? And that being the case, is it really fair, especially when their food situation is kind of shitty at this point? Is it fair for me to hang on to them just because they're my 2 favorites when I think that somebody else could probably take care of them better at this point? So, and my aunt asked me a few weeks ago when we had the welcome home party for my uncle. She and her grandson came back that day, came there that day, and she asked me about it then. And she said, "Are you still thinking about it?" It's like, well, I said I'm kind of hit and miss on it, but kind of have thought it, but I haven't committed to being ready to make that decision. But then this morning, as I was thinking about it, especially with all the stuff with the dog, it was just like, this little kid, I think he would enjoy the crap out of that bird. He talks, the bird. He does, hey, what you doing? He knows part of the Pink Panther theme song, and another one, bites the dust. And while he's not super tame, he was trained when he was little or when he was newly hatched, or, he was hand fed and all that stuff. Or, I think it was parent fed, but interacted with a lot. And so he knew step up when I got him. And he was good about it for a while, but then I got to a point where it was like, I started getting frustrated because I would get him to step up on my hand, and then by the time I got him back to the cage, he'd take off because he didn't want to go back in the cage. So it got to a point where it was just like, throwing a handkerchief over him and catching him and putting him in the cage. So he doesn't love hands, but I think he could be worked with. Again, I just haven't had the time or energy to put forth the focus to make that happen, is the biggest thing. So I asked my aunt this morning if she was still interested in the cockatiel, and she said that, her daughter and her grandson were, and how much did I want for them. And so then, this puts the other part in there of, if Buddha gets a new home, Bodhi probably should get a new home too. So I asked my aunt about the Bork that she has, and it's like, well, do you want his mom? And they can go in the same cage. I mean, don't keep any eggs or anything if they do that, but so it's like kind of sad. That one really makes me sad though, the mama bird, because I hand fed her I got her when she was like 2 weeks old from a breeder, and she said she liked to sell them when they were younger, so people could hand feed them because they are easier to bond with then, but then I've been bonded to this bird, but then I haven't been interacting with her like I was starting out, and that's sad. But I think my aunt would be awesome with interacting with her, and it would be really helpful that she already, there again, she doesn't love hands, but she can be caught and, handled easily. She doesn't bite like Buddha does, because much bigger bird, much more solid beak. But yeah, so anyway, so I talked to my aunt about that. Then, as I was continuing my thought process this morning, I was like, what can I do for the money end of things, right? And it's like, my storage unit is due on the 1st. And so far, I've had luck with all the right pieces coming together before I need to make the payment. But then I was thinking about it today. It's like, the closet in my office has my mom's shit in it. If I clear that out and put my stuff in there, I'm still going to have way more stuff than I have closet space. But I don't have a ton of stuff in my storage unit. So I think I'm going to, I know, I started moving stuff out earlier. I started moving stuff back to the house, 3333, because I'm going to let that go. And then I started thinking about it. It's like, okay, so if I let the storage unit go, that's going to be $100 a month. My discounted rate ended month before last, so the last month it was 97, but before that it was like 83. But it's worked out really well for me to have that, because that's where the stuff that when I have been posting stuff to sell, I just can put it there and it's out of the way. And some of that stuff that hasn't gotten sold at this point, I'll probably just donate it and get rid of it. But yeah, that's where I'm at today. It's like, I'm just considering all the pieces for everything. I think this is the path now. I think that the getting the storage unit was perfect, but it was only for a time, right? It was obviously only for a time. But it gave me space without all the clutter to get rid of some stuff, and then be able to reorganize my thoughts around how to do this have this situation where, you know, I'm not overwhelmed by all the clutter, but I can also have my own stuff in my space. So like the stuff that I have in the storage unit, like my fucking sewing machine that I still haven't learned to use, but I don't want to get rid of because I have a chair that I want to fix the cushions or want to make new cushions for, but I haven't braved it up to figure that out yet. Right? So like in my AC unit, right, that can go in the closet. So just that kind of stuff, right? So it's a matter of reorganizing the things that are there and yeah, getting it set up better, right? Anyway, it's getting dark, and I told everybody I was leaving Thanksgiving, which, by the way, I wore my deviled egg shirt and my earrings, but then we didn't do anything with it. My aunt wanted like pictures and stuff, but then we didn't end up doing that. And my cousin and I, the cousin that knows I do the YouTube thing, we both had the conversation of, it seems like we would have taken pictures with, you know, the thing on the shirt and the item there, you know, so I would have the plate of deviled eggs, right? And sporting my earrings, the little devil eggs dudes. But yeah, we didn't do that. And then everybody got distracted with the baby. So that was kind of where it died off. My aunt did make a comment about we could wear them again at Christmas. It's like, well, I mean, I suppose we could, but cool. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up so I can go check on that last sign and also fill this truck so I can unload it at home. As always, I appreciate you. Until the next time, see ya.